Okay, let's start rounding decimals. We've rounded regular numbers, and it's the same thing with decimals. You just look to the right of the number and then round up. Round up. Round up, little doggy. So we've got a 0.65719. So we're rounding the nearest thousands place. Remember, there's no ones place to the right of the decimal point. So there's just the 10 spot, the 100 spot, the thousands, the 10,000s, the 100,000s, and so on, so on, so on, till we get to the billions, and we're not going that far, right? So we want to look to the thousandth spot, which is right here. And so we're going to look to the right of that number, which is a 1. So is 71 closer to 70, or is it closer to 80? If you said 70, you are right on the money. Exactly. So now, if we're going to round, we're going to get rid of these numbers and just put 0.657. There you go. We rounded that one number. So let's do the next one, 0.6755, and we're going to round to the nearest hundredths place. Here is the hundredths place. I like to call it the penny spot, you know, because I'm thinking about money. This is 67 cents. So it's 0.6755. What's that closer to? Because we're rounding to the nearest penny. Is it closer to 68 cents? Or is it closer to 67 cents? We take a look at this number because it's to the right, right? We look at this number and we see that it's a 5. So we know with a 5, we go up 1. Because if we were to hide that first 6, we'd see a 75 there. And we think, ooh, 75, that's closer to the next one up, right? It's closer to the 8. So then we make this a 0.68. Does that make sense? I'm hoping that makes sense, because I know this can be really challenging, especially as a teacher too, to explain it, because there's so many different ways to explain. So if you do not understand something, please give us a call. That would be great. Let's go on to the next one. This one's a little tough because there's that 0 there, right? That 0.09. Now, if we look at it without the last 3 numbers, we just look at it like this, 0.09. We see that that's 9 cents. So we're going to try to see, is this closer to 10 cents or is it closer to 9 cents? That's the question we're asking, because we want to round to the nearest tenths place, which is where the dimes are, right? The 10 senses. Okay, so we look at it this way and we can say, okay, is this closer to 10 cents or 9 cents? We see that there is an 8 here. So that means to move this one up. If we move it up, what do we get? We get 10 cents. So we make this a 0, and we make this a 1. So we find out that 0.98 is closer to 10 cents. We're rounding it off, right? Now, when we see, if you see here, it just says 0.1. When you have a decimal and it says 0.10, that just makes it really easy for us to read, because we look at that and we say, ooh, that's 10 cents, because we know what 10 cents looks like. But you don't really have to put this 0 down if you don't want to, because there's no numbers after it. it's just 10 cents. It's a 1 and a 0. So you can leave that 0 off there because there's no other numbers there. When you're writing 0.09845, well, you have to write the other numbers, but the answer in rounding to the nearest tenth is 10 cents. So 0.10 is the same as saying 0.1. Now, some people are going to look at this and they're going to want to round from the very end of this number. So let's try that. See how that works. And I know that sometimes this makes it more confusing for people. So if it feels more confusing, just forget this part and stop the video. But we're going to go to the very end and round this number to the nearest tenths. We're going to look, this is a 5. Ooh, that means we round this number. 5 makes the next one. Instead of 4, it goes up to 5, right? So we rounded that, and this is a 5. So now we're going to round the 8. So the 5 makes this one go up 1. So we're going to round the next number to a 9, right? Now we're going to round the next number. So we got a 9 here. That goes up 1. So what do we do now? It goes up 1. What's after the 9? 10. So how do we do that? We make this a 0. And we carry the 1. Now, some of you may understand that way of doing it, and some may not. You may love to have just look at the fact that it's 9 cents with an 8 next to it. That's good because you don't have to look at the other numbers. You're just rounding to the nearest tenth. So don't confuse yourself by this. But if we were rounding the whole number and we're going all the way to the end, that is how we would do it. If you have any questions or you feel challenged about this, you can give us a call and you can also take a class. Thanks so much. You're doing great. You're doing great. You just need to practice some more, and there's more practice questions on this page. Thank you.